If you're enjoying Pigoted Podcast, why not sign up to our Patreon? You can get access to loads of extra stuff. You get access to extra episodes every single week. You get access to giveaways that we do. We've done giveaways on rum, giveaways on NFTs, loads of sponsorship stuff. You get access to the Discord community. You get early access on episodes that are being released. You get to ask questions to our guests. There's loads of extra stuff that you get, and it starts from just £1 a week, £4 a month. Think about it this way. Would you miss an episode of Pigoted if we didn't release one? Yeah? Well, would you miss £1 if it went out of your bank account? No? Well then, get yourself signed up to our Patreon, because by supporting the podcast, you're helping to make it possible. You're helping to pay for all of the recording space and all of the equipment. So please, if you do enjoy the podcast, check out the Patreon. You get loads of extra benefits, and a big thank you from me. Enjoy the podcast. This week's podcast is brought to you by Window World. Window World are the home of rock bottom prices on all of your UPVC windows, doors and conservatories. Right now they're doing a very special deal where you can get 8 windows and 2 doors for only £2,495. So if you're thinking about getting new windows or doors, if you want to upgrade yourself for 2022, then get yourself down to windowworldupvc.co.uk or give them a call on 0151 531 0056. That's Window World, the home of great quality windows and doors. Welcome to Pigoted Podcast. Joining us to... I've started very camp, haven't I? That's an octave higher than what I'm used to.
It's all the sugar.
Right, okay. Welcome. Welcome to Pigoted Podcast.
You sound like you're straining out a poo.
I was trying to go for Bane. My parents are dead and I'm sad. Hey. Right.
You know I've not seen that film.
Have you not?
No.
Batman's parents are dead and he's sad. That's what the film is. And he goes, like that.
That's all Batman films, isn't it? We haven't even got through the introduction.
No,
and we've gone fucking off the rails.
I've said this many times. I don't watch superhero movies anymore. And the reason being is because I don't think it's entertaining to watch a superhero battle their mental health for 90 minutes. I just think it's boring. How can I save the city if I can't even save myself? Fuck off.
That's not an actual line, is it?
No, I know, but it might as well be.
Yeah.
It's like, fuck off, Bruce Wayne. You're a billionaire. You're oh, I've got so much money, but I miss my mum. Fuck off.
I mean, to be fair.
Yeah. It's the one thing I can't buy. Parents. Sorry, I'm really passionate about it.
So, sorry to anyone out there who has lost either or both of their parents, but can still pay the bills.
Yeah, but I mean, all right,
You're
okay.
not allowed to be sad.
If you've lost either or both of your parents in a violent mugging and...
Specifically.
Yeah. And you are not a billionaire and not a superhero, then do you know what? You've got every right to feel sad. But if you are... even if you're either or, fine. But if you're both a billionaire and a superhero, you need to fucking...
He's not a superhero, though, is he?
Yeah.
Well, he's just a rich wanker.
Yeah, but...
Who's bought a Kevlar suit or what have you.
He's bought superheroism.
He hasn't got any superpowers. He's not a superhero in my book.
Yeah. I think he is based on the fact that no one else can do what he does.
Just because they haven't got the money.
Totally. That's like saying, well, no one else can run as fast as the Flash because they haven't got the natural ability.
No, that's different, though. Like, that's superhuman speed.
Oh, do you know what I'd love to see? Right? Batman versus Bezos.
I'd like to see anyone punch Bezos in the head.
Oh, mate.
I don't care who it is.
I'm delivering pain to you, Jeff, via a Prime membership. Well, it'll come tomorrow.
Yeah, you'll leave it in my shed.
I don't... Yeah. It says here that there's a punch behind the bins. I don't really like or hate Jeff Bezos. I've just nothing for him.
Yeah.
Do you know what really pisses me off, though? Is when people, like Elon Musk has bought Twitter, And people go, he could have spent that money on ending world hunger. It's like, yeah, but it's his and he didn't, so fuck off. Do you know what I mean? When was the last time you bought something nice for yourself? Well, you could have spent that on letting a starving African family feed for a week, but you didn't, did you? You fucking bought whatever you want to buy.
Yeah, but proportionally, so...
He wants Twitter.
But somebody buying themselves like a nice little trinket or whatever...
Okay.
Might make a considerable difference to their life. Or like a slight material difference, or
Twitter's more valuable to him than ending world hunger.
Well, yeah.
So there we go. Is he? I don't think he's morally obliged to.
Well, so it's like that philosophy problem of like, there's a kid drowning in a pond and you're walking past, are you obliged to help it?
Oh, and then you've got really good shoes on.
Yeah. Like, yeah.
I
think it would have been nice if he'd have done something much better with it. I don't understand why billionaires need so much money. It doesn't make any fucking sense to me.
Because you're looking at it as a money thing.
Yeah.
It's not a money thing, it's a power thing. And you can never have enough power. You can have enough money really easily, but it's power. That's what they're all after. So every rich person I know, and I know a few people who are millionaires. Look, what a weird brag.
Right.
And I know a few people who are millionaires. None of them are motivated by money. None of them. All the ones that are money motivated are in high-paying jobs that make them want to blow their brains out, where they're earning high 5 figures, low 6 figures a year. But all the actual millionaires are just like, I really like skateboarding, and I've made all these skateboards, and I made £1 million off the back of it. Do you know what I mean? Like, so I think when you get to billions as well, money becomes immaterial because you've so far past the point where you can buy anything that why does it matter? It's all about power.
Well, which is why, like, if it doesn't matter and it's not going to make a difference to your life to do something like genuinely worthy, like, why not fucking do it rather than buy Twitter?
Yeah,
like,
I mean, I'd rather have Twitter.
It's a dick move. Basically, it's a dick move. It's a big flex to be like, yeah, I'm buying Twitter.
How about this? Right, what if he went buying Twitter for 44 billion for less money than Man City paid for Erling Haaland this week.
Well, Twitter's a bit crap sometimes.
Buying Twitter for 44 billion. How much was it to solve world hunger? Like 6 billion or something?
I don't know off the top of my head.
So let's say it was...
If he'd done both, I'd have been like, yeah, fair enough, mate.
Well, what if he said, look, if Twitter grows in value by that much, I'll like reinvest the shares or whatever, and I'll use the 6 bill to buy, to end world hunger.
Yeah, fine. I mean, you could have just ended world hunger without measuring your dick with Twitter, but
he doesn't have to, does he?
No, he doesn't have to, but you could.
Yeah. Well,
so, right.
There's loads of things that I could do that I don't.
Okay, let's imagine you're my friend.
Oh no.
Okay, so.
Yep.
And imagine that I am a hoarder. Like, I fucking love tins of beans. Cannot get enough tins of beans.
Okay, I'd hate that because I hate baked beans and I've never eaten them.
But imagine it gets to the point where I've got so many tins of baked beans that even if I did nothing but eat tins of beans all day, and my family ate loads of fucking tins of beans, and the next generation kept eating tins of beans, and I still wouldn't run out of beans.
Yeah.
While other people in the world are dying because of lack of beans. Yeah. Would you not go, Kat, understand that you're into beans. Yeah. It's quirky. It's funny. Fair enough. But you want to maybe give up some of these beans that you're never going to fucking touch so that those people stop dying from lack of beans?
I'd ask the question, absolutely. But then if you turn around and went, well, these are my beans, I'd go, all right, okay.
But, like, so if, say we observed this behaviour in monkeys. Yeah. Like, one bunch of, like 5 monkeys were hoarding literally all the resources to the point where a load of other monkeys are dying because of lack of resources.
I'd blame the zookeepers. There needs to be a more efficient system.
But like we'd study the fuck out of the monkeys. We'd be like, what is wrong with these absolute sociopathic fucking monkeys?
Yeah.
Like, what is going on? Why haven't these monkeys killed those monkeys?
Yeah.
And yet, society.
Well, I think that just because you have the means to help somebody doesn't mean that you are morally obligated to.
No, but it's still...
Because if we take that to its... Like, if we keep going with that, then that means every time somebody comes up and asks us for 20p, which I think happened to you as I picked you up at the train station. That guy looked like he was a smackhead. Sorry. We did, come on. I mean, we can pretend like he didn't all we want, and you were like, nah, it's fine. But you're not.
I didn't, nah.
You what?
I went, I'm really sorry, I haven't got any change.
She went like this with her hand. She went like that. and then the guy carried on talking, and she just pushed her hand.
Oh, come on, as if I'd touch him.
She had her sleeve over her hand, and she just smushed him into a wall. But the thing is I look, I think it's nice to help people, but I think that what it should be is if you choose to help somebody, big thumbs up. But if you choose not to, then it shouldn't mean big thumbs down. It should just mean, okay, you chose not to that time because you've got other stuff on. And also as well because you might not know the background or whatever.
The strength of the moral obligation changes. Like, it's really difficult to compare a person walking down the street not emptying their pockets.
Here's a question. Right? Philosophically speaking. Right. Talk about ending world hunger.
Yeah.
Is that for everyone? So, of all the people starving, let's say there's a fucking billion people starving or whatever, I reckon of that, hundreds of thousands are probably going to be horrible people, murderers. No, genuinely, like like sexual bad people.
Sexual bad people.
That is that's the correct term.
So do they do sex crimes or do they do normal crimes but in a sexy way? Like rubbing their nipples like, oh, open the cash drawer.
Oh, with these sex crimes. I know you want it.
I stole your handbag. You found it sexy. Jizz on your car door.
I rub your TV. Hey! Okay, now here we go. Tried to rob and steal you. But you were well aware, so I could not pickpocket you.
Pickpocket?
Yeah, yes. Yeah. Didn't fit the lyrics, did it?
No, not really. I mean, yeah, it was all nonsense.
Do you know what? If Robin Thicke, if you're watching, if you re-release Blurred Lines, but like that, all is forgiven.
But sexy crimes.
Yeah, I actually reckon...
Specifically sexy crimes, not sex crimes.
Yeah,
because technically the first one was about sex crimes anyway.
I'm saying this now, Robin Thicke. If you re-release that song, I reckon your wife will take you back. Genuinely... Yeah, did you not know that his wife left him, and his second song was he released an album. This was like his big four, and it was just loads of like, please, I'm really sorry that I cheated on you. Do 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 do. Please come home. It's very lonely in bed, and I'm very very sad. Sorry I shagged all the strippers, did me too. It was an accident. That's literally it.
Yeah.
What are we talking about?
I have no idea.
So, you're solving world hunger, but what about the people that have done the worst things? Do they get to be...
Okay, but that's the same as sort of like, well, why don't we have capital punishment? Like, it's just the other way around. It's like, instead of saying, like, why don't we actively kill everyone who does mega bad crimes? Well, or, like, should we just not feed the people we don't like? Should we just let them die of preventable causes?
I mean, maybe we could feed all of them and then punish the bad ones in a different way. What you could do is you could
feed the bad ones to the good ones.
Genius.
Yeah.
And that's what Elon suggested. And UNICEF were like, we can't do that. And he said, fuck you, I'm buying Twitter.
Yeah, that sounds legit.
So what are we talking about today?
Are you gonna finish the introduction or?
To Bigoted Podcast. Joining me today, as always, is Dr. Cat Ford.
Hello.
Dr. Cat Ford. That was a 13-minute intro. We're getting worse.
Yes.
We're getting worse at this. What are we talking about today? What's the old dill?
Dough.
Oh, dildo. So I went dill. That's like, is that some sort of flower?
No. So I thought it would be interesting to talk about something called the waist to hip ratio.
Okay.
Which is sort of an interesting little bit of research that most people who do evolutionary psychology learn about quite early on.
Okay, I'm going to call this now. I've never heard of it before, the waist to hip ratio. Does this involve corsets at some point?
Kind of,
Oh,
yeah.
shout, look at
Like,
me.
it might explain corsets a little bit.
Oh, right.
Like, why they were popular.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
So is it that the smaller the waist and the bigger the hips, the more birthy you look? So the more that you look like you would give a successful birth, and so your primal brain goes, need to procreate. She have wide hip. She BD, deliver baby well. Don't know why primal me talk like this. But once get in, hard to stop.
Sound like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Get out!
That's like, get it out! Get baby out! It's not the birthday party you want, is it?
The doctor, come with me if you want to live.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
It's a callback to Roe versus Wade. Anyway.
No.
Anyway. Oh my God, this is going to be a risky app.
Hit me.
So, I mean, to be fair, it's always me that's the instigator of this. You're just an unwilling bystander.
Yeah, I'm just collateral damage.
And I'm going to say that and have another fizzy bottle.
Right, lovely. Yeah, so... Okay, so you can't tell how good somebody's going to be at giving birth by looking at their waist to hip ratio.
I would have thought like maybe primal man maybe thought that.
Also no, because so the thing that really affects how good you are at shoving a whole human out of your body is it's more to do with like the inner pelvis.
Oh.
So the bits that you can't really see, it's about like the size of that hole, basically, like your bone hole. Like, fuck. So if you think about a pelvis, it's like a circular thing, right? And it's made of bone.
Sex crimes. I want your bone hole.
So, because that's the gap that baby's head's got to try and get through.
Okay.
And you can have a big enough gap there.
Yeah.
Even if you've like got relatively narrow hips, or even if you have a waist to hip ratio that's quite low.
Oh yeah.
So what the waist to hip ratio is, it's the size of a woman's waist compared to the size of her hips. It's literally just that.
Oh, okay.
So the narrowest point compared to the widest point.
Okay. So why are we talking about this? Why is it interesting?
Well, because it is something that a lot of people find attractive.
Yes,
Like-
I kind of do.
Yeah, well, Sir Mix-a-Lot wrote a whole song about it.
Who?
Sir Mix-a-Lot.
Who be Sir Mix-a-Lot?
He likes big butts and he can't lie.
Oh, those are the girls, something. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like big butts and I cannot lie. You other brothers can deny. When a girl walks in with a pretty waist, I'm thinking in your face, you get...
Sprung.
What? Spunk?
Sprung.
Oh, I think you said spunk.
No, you get sprung.
You get spunk. Well, she walked in with a pretty face and a round thing in my face.
And
so
now
I
I've got to
just
change my pants.
threw cum at her. So
Oh, fuck's sake.
just, yeah.
Sex crime.
Yeah, in comes Robin Thicke's a mashup. Okay.
It's a splat up.
I mean, to be honest with you, Is this sort of like the psychological equivalent of are you a bum man or are you a boobs man?
No.
Okay.
It is reliably a small waist compared to like big curvy hips is reliably seen as attractive.
Okay.
Like, and we're talking across cultures and like throughout time as well.
Oh, really?
Like there are references to small waists being sexy way back into like 12th century China. Like this is a really pervasive preference. That, again, it's very heteronormative and stuff.
So sometimes when you talk, I imagine where the sentence is going to go. And so when you said it's there's records of this way back. In my head, I went prehistoric times, and you went 12th century China, and I went, ooh, overshot that.
Yeah, just a bit. I mean, writing stuff down.
You can draw
fairly recent.
You can draw an hourglass on a cave.
Well, true. Well, and so that's like little trinkets.
Yeah.
Little handmade figurines, I guess. Like the really old ones. Those prehistoric ones, like they might give you an indication of what people value.
Okay.
So, I can't remember the name of it. It's Venus of Willendorf. So that's that little figurine.
Oh yes, I know that one. It's big old titties.
Big, yeah. Yeah. So like that might so those kind of records exist.
Okay.
But we can only kind of guess at what that's about. Like whether it's
because you don't know whether or not there was two cavemen and one of them went, "Hey, you see that bit of mud over there? I'm going to make the ugliest bitch I can with that."
Potentially, yeah.
Well, you don't know that they were just going, "Oh, I'm going to make pretty. I'm good to make porn." You know what I mean?
Yeah, the same way that sometimes you draw a pile of dog shit on your on your science textbook, right?
Yeah,
you're not going, "Oh, fuck that."
Yeah, no one. When you draw a dick pic, you're not trying to draw the ideal penis. What?
Yeah, with like wings and stuff and little bird feet, yeah.
Is that your ideal penis?
It would be so cool if that existed. Like hopping around, just flopping its ball bag on the floor between its scratchy little legs.
I think that it would just look like proof that existence is pain. Imagine if it shits on you. Someone's come on me shoulder.
Bird shit already looks a bit like...
Exactly. You'd never know.
So anyway, written records,
yes,
where we know that this is what is considered beautiful. Like going way back across various different cultures. A waist to hip ratio of about... So small waist to big hips has long been seen attractive. What seems to be the ideal is a waist that's about 70% the size of your hips.
Okay.
On women. And part of that will just be like natural constraint. Like it's very difficult to naturally achieve a waist any smaller than that compared to your hip size.
Yeah.
Which might be why corsets were really popular, because it artificially reduces your waist.
Can I, and it lets a woman know her place. Can I very quickly interject here and say, one thing that I thought I always knew about attractiveness in society is that it hasn't always been the case that whatever we deem attractive today has always been attractive. And throughout history, different things were attractive. Like at the moment, one of the things that's really considered very sexy is, I'm going to do it like that, sexy, is a tanned body. You know, people will go to tanning beds, and it's the idea that you are affluent enough to be able to afford holidays, and so therefore your skin's a beautiful brown or whatever. But in like the Elizabethan times, it was considered gross because it was like, ugh, you've been out in the sun all day working in the fields, you fucking peasant. Which is why, like, Queen Elizabeth would have that, you know, that picture of Queen Elizabeth where she's like super fucking white. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like I live in Shropshire, vote Tories, don't trust BLM white. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Hummus is really spicy, kind of.
Tzatziki, not in my Britain. That sort of white. Once had olive, didn't trust it. That sort of white. Chicken korma, at best.
How do you not trust an olive?
What?
What do you mean didn't trust the olive?
Because
What responsibilities do normal people hand out to olives?
no.
Never tell your pin to an olive. Like, fucking hell. I asked this olive to walk my dog and water my plants while I was on holiday.
And the dog was dead. And the plants were very well walked.
My dog drowned and my plants had walked.
That olive said he was a Nigerian prince. And that he just needed a small amount on PayPal to unlock his funds. And I've not had shit since. No wonder you're salty about it. Hey. And you've ended it, Freddie. You've ended it. You get what I mean, though, is, and also as well, I heard that in time gone by, being fat was considered very attractive because it was like, look at you, Lardy-dar, being able to afford.
Lardy-dar.
That was one of the Henry VIII's lords, Lord Lardy-dar.
Yeah. I was just thinking lardy is another word for being fat. Oh, hiya, lardy darling. It's short for lardy darling.
No, it's someone's fat dad.
Lardy dar. Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, and then also as well, and I know this, and this might give some comfort to Peter Andre, but back in fucking the Greece times.
So, did you know Peter Andre once nearly died from eating too many bananas?
What? Out of rage because he could never be as big as them.
What? He rage ate a load of bananas because they were bigger than his dick.
Yeah. Did you not know about the Peter Andre's dick thing?
No, I do. I know about it. The nearly going into kidney failure from eating for smashing bananas.
Okay, you tell me your Peter Andre story.
That's the full story. He ate too many bananas.
Really?
Went into kidney failure and had to go to hospital. That's it. It's my favourite fact about Peter Andre. He nearly bananaed himself to death.
I like the idea that he watched one episode of Banana Man. I was like, you know what? I fancy a go with that. I fancy a One didn't do anything. So, I don't imagine that you've been keeping tabs on the Wagatha Christie court case.
No, I've been meaning to, but
okay, it's brilliant. So one of the things that has come out in the trial is that Rebecca Vardy sold a story, or she tried selling a story about how small Peter Andre's dick is. And she was like a miniature chipolata and all that. And it was really horrible, right? And Peter Andre's been on Instagram like, oh, it's not true and I feel sad. And it's one of those where it's like, oh, bless him. Like, oh.
he seems like such a sweetie.
He does, doesn't he?
Fucking idiot, but he's sweet.
Yeah, but I imagine he's one of those that is needy as fuck. So I imagine he's one of those boyfriends that's like, tell me I'm good.
Maybe.
Tell me I was a good singer. So I've written a song. Do you want to hear it? It's about you. It's called Pretty Lady. You know, and you're like, oh, God. So anyway, I apparently, and you can tell me if this is true or bollocks, but I believe that it's true. And even if you tell me it's bollocks, I'll continue to believe that it's true because it's nice.
Fair enough.
Small dicks back in like ancient Greece were considered like the thing, and big ones were considered gross and animalistic and like almost like not enlightened. And that's why all the Greek statues have tiny little dicks.
That's possibly true.
Yeah.
But
now, if you go to a lady in a bar and you go, hey babe, all right, I'm very white I am incredibly overweight and I have a tiny, tiny penis. Want to come back to mine? I reckon she would go, no.
I think even if you said all of the opposite things to a woman that you've only just met,
I think the main problem is that it comes from me.
Well, no, I think just anyone walking up to somebody.
If I walked up to someone and went, hello, I am incredibly dark-skinned, I am not fat, and I have a huge cock. Want to come back to mine? Like, I don't think yours exists. Is your house a house or is it a van? And am I going to get...
People are going to think that about you, no matter what you say.
Yeah.
Do you live in a van?
Do you know? Well, no, I don't. I live in a house. However, I am one of those people that people look at me and think sex offender. Like, and I'm not. I'm actually... Sorry.
Do not say I haven't done sex crimes like a fucking brag. Like,
me and Robin Thicke got nothing in common. Yeah, so I looks can be deceiving, that's all. But I will notice it sometimes. I'm walking home from like a gig or something late at night, and there is like a woman who is also sharing the same public space. I will notice the way that she looks at me and the way that she keeps checking round as if to say, that guy might. And do you know what? I'm not putting the blame on her. So what I do is I purposely slow down and I'm like, I'm not going to. Don't worry, But,
what I was about to say is it's probably not personal. Like she'd do that for most people.
Yeah.
Like,
oh,
especially men.
That was
yeah,
special.
No, you're not special.
Oh.
Anyway, are you gonna let me tell you some science or not?
No. Yeah, tell me science. Tell me science. I'm going to eat... Do you know what I'm going to do? I brought some sweeties, and I think that what happened is the sugar in them has given me hyperactivity. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to stuff my mouth full of them, and in the time that it takes me to eat them, it will give you enough time to do science, and I will not be able to interrupt and distract everything and ruin everything.
Let's see if that works.
So, okay, you ready on 3? 1, 2, 3.
So am I only allowed to science until the sweets? Right, so after the sweets are gone, we've got to talk bollocks again.
Valuable time.
Right, okay, so yes, a lot of things that are considered attractive in humans can be quite variable. And so culture will change those things. So they're really sour, aren't they?
Sour. I thought we'd be having one at a time. Please continue.
Oh, it's fucking hell. I've got a fucking PhD.
Please continue.
So yeah, a lot of stuff is really variable over time, and so like one of the ones that you mentioned is like body weight. So yeah, that changes a lot due to culture. So in affluent societies, being larger seems to be not an okay thing, whereas in less affluent societies, being heavier is a sign that, oh, hey, you've got access to this, that, and the other. You've got disposable income and stuff.
Kim Jong-un.
Even...
What?
One, that was not an appropriate amount of chewing for the amount of sweets in your face. Also, it's just really strange to see somebody squirming in pain. Do a big swallow, then suddenly, in a serious tone, go, Kim Jong-un.
Yeah, I tried to get involved. It just
looked really fucking strange.
They're really sour, those.
Yeah.
It wasn't an appropriate amount of chewing. What I did is I kind of... I use my saliva almost as paint stripper. Just tried to strip most of the enzymes off there, and then I swallowed them like a duck.
You swallow ducks. So I'm just breeze past.
Do you do research for this?
sometimes.
Such a waste.
I haven't bothered for this one. This is stuff that I just know off the top of my head, and I am starting to wonder whether there's any point in me doing my homework before these. There's literally no.
Not at home. I'm the teacher that doesn't check.
Yeah, right. Anyway, so like BMI, like general body size, that kind of thing, that's really variable. But small waist, big hips, like even while overall body size preference changes.
Yeah.
Small waist, big hips.
Is it?
Playboy centerfolds since the 1970s have pretty much all had a waist to hip ratio.
Is it because
0.7?
And I'm throwing this out there, right? So the opposite of like someone having a small dick, someone having a big dick. All right, okay, I can see why that'd be attractive. The opposite of someone being dead anorexically thin, someone being dead fat. All right, okay, cool. But the opposite of small waist, big hips is massive waist, tiny hips. And that just look weird.
But why would that look weird? Like, why would we find that weird? Like, to just say, oh, that's sexy because it looks sexy.
Yeah.
Doesn't explain anything.
Yeah, but it would just, in my head, no one looks like that. No one has, no one, in my head, no one has a waist bigger than their hips.
No, but it might be in line.
I don't mind in line. Like, I quite like in line.
Okay, fair enough.
Who doesn't like a line? Most people throughout history, Freddie. Cool.
Basically, so that's one of the other kind of interesting things about doing anything to do with psychology is you're talking about the average of a big bunch of people. Like, there'll always be, like...
anomalies.
Yeah, and you're definitely an anomaly.
You said that with so much shade. Can I ask a question? So we're talking like physical characteristics that have changed in terms of what people think is attractive, but the little waist, big hips has always been like the fucking standard bearer. Has what people considered attractive in terms of personality ever changed?
I have no idea.
It's interesting though, isn't it?
I mean, I'd imagine that would be something that would vary across cultures.
Like, I mean, from the 1800s, like, having one is,
yeah.
You know. But yeah, I imagine because throughout most of history, it was like, it should be seen and not heard, you know, in the corner, doing the sewing, or whatever it is that women did. But, like, it would be interesting to see whether or not, like, in the 50s, like, the ideal... like what people would consider the ideal woman would be like gregarious and outgoing, or whether or not it would be like shy and reserved, or whether or not it would be like friendly and approachable, like whether or not that's or whether or not it's so flexible and subjective that it's just not even worth measuring. I
don't know. It's not something that I know about off the top of my head. I'd have to go and look at it. But waist to hip ratio.
Well, if you'd have done your homework. I think she's going to beat me up. No, go on. I'm not going to waste it.
Yes, you fucking will.
I can't help it.
I know.
It's the way that my brain... I've got an inquisitive mind. Why do you want to quieten it? Well, there's some good reasons. Go on, waist to hip.
So, when we see something that like people constantly find attractive... it's like, oh, well, okay, why? Is it arbitrary? Like, do people just find it attractive because they find it attractive?
Yeah.
Or is it signaling something?
Yeah.
So if we look at animals, like we've spoken a bit about, like very early on in the podcast history, we've spoken about costly signaling theory.
Yes.
Yeah. So peacocks are the classic example. They've got these massive fuck-off tails that seem to be for nothing other than attracting the opposite sex. But why does that attract the opposite sex? What is that telling peahens about the peacock? And what it might be is it's saying, look, I'm such a wonderful specimen. I've got all this biological energy that I can waste on building a massive tail, because I couldn't do that if I didn't have enough food. Also, I'm really good at avoiding predators because, look, I'm running around with a come eat me sign and I'm still alive. So clearly, genetically, I'm a wonderful thing. You defo want my babies.
Are female peacocks called peahens?
Peahens, yeah.
Oh, I never knew that.
Yeah.
Anyway, what was the rest that you said?
Again, it's always the little tiny borderline irrelevant bit that you go, I like that.
I thought there were male and female peacocks up until right now.
Yeah, peacocks and peahens.
I thought the lady peacocks were the ones that
Lady peacocks.
Yeah, she's in Bridgerton.
Yeah.
I always thought that they were the ones that just had less impressive plumage.
They are.
Oh, but I didn't know that they were called like peahens.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
So you know how you have chickens?
Yeah.
Right? And there are hens and cockerels.
Oh. Yeah, I knew.
Yeah. Anyway, right, and so sometimes we take a similar approach to humans. It's like, why is a small waist compared to hips? Why is that considered attractive?
Well, she got that big old booty and she's still not dad.
Not quite.
Oh, okay.
So it doesn't work in the same way as a peacock dragging around its massive tail, even though I can see why you'd make that connection.
Yeah, dragging around a big old booty.
Yeah, no. And it doesn't reflect ease of bearing a child or giving birth.
That's what I always thought.
But what it does seem... So there's evidence that suggests that the type of fats that you deposit around your hips and thighs and arse is like a really nutritious type of fat.
Really?
And when somebody's given birth and if they're breastfeeding, they're the areas that get recruited.
What?
So they end up making high quality breast milk.
Like the humps on a camel?
Kind of, yeah.
Oh.
Like it's full of like really interesting amino acids.
Wow.
So having
my milkshake brings other boys to the yard and they're like, that could feed a child with high quality breast milk.
Basically, yeah.
Better than yours, damn right. Better than yours.
Pretty much like a lot of what attractiveness is, we'd have fit babies. That's
you reckon? Like, yeah.
It is. Maybe not consciously. Or almost definitely not consciously. And even in people who don't want children, a lot of attractiveness is driven by like, I fucking love your DNA, man.
See, I'm not not shallow like that. So a lot of the times my attractiveness is based on me going, God, our babies would have great personalities.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they'd learn off us.
Yeah.
They'd just be really chill, cool. You know, affable babies.
Affable babies. Oh no, they're all arseholes.
They are all arseholes.
But so this kind of lusty desire for women that are like hourglass shape, tit preferences changed a lot.
Tit preference?
Yeah. So if you think about like 1920s.
Oh, 1920s
it's quite boyish figures were fashionable, but still with small waist compared to the hips.
Do you know
just
what?
A flattish chest.
I am a much bigger fan of small titties than big ones.
Okay.
Yeah. Any bigger than mine, not interested.
I've got to have the biggest tits in this relationship.
Yeah, exactly. I actually get a, that Clark's shoe sizer.
You're there on dates with your calipers.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So breast size isn't that important, or historically, and it's very culturally variable how important boob size is. But waist to hip ratio is like really reliable. And it does seem to be signaling something that's kind of relevant to your evolutionary fitness. Your evolutionary fitness is measured by something that's referred to as like inclusive fitness.
Okay.
So it's how many kids you have and how many kids your kids have. That's your measure of inclusive fitness.
Oh, wow.
So when people say like, oh, well, it's survival of the fittest, it's like, you don't know what that means, do you?
Yeah.
It's not about like being super fast or super strong or the best at this, that, and the other. It is literally about reproduction.
Wow.
Yeah.
When you say it like that, it's really bleak. It just feels like, who'd have thought all those people on benefits in council house having loads of babies. That is
I'm not going to touch that. But evolution is
lies. Not going to touch that.
But yeah, evolution is literally just a numbers game. Like,
yeah.
When people say, like...
The more babbies, the more evolutionary possibilities.
Well, just the greater your inclusive fitness. More kids, they have more kids. That's winning at the evolution game.
Yeah.
Like,
I find that so weird of a concept to get my head around. I don't really know
why.
I don't really know.
Fair enough.
I wonder if...
But that's how we end up with some, like, really odd shit. Or stuff that doesn't really make sense. It's like, well, that's just what survived.
I wonder if, so you know how there's and I might have made this up, but isn't there something that was like a thing that, like, when economies go, the further down economies go, the further up skirts go?
Yeah. Poor economies result in shorter skirts, and men's hair has an interesting relationship with the economy, but I can't remember what it is.
Like, the whole is like the more of a difficult economy you live in, the more promiscuous the society becomes. Is that,
again, I'm not sure.
You're not sure? Oh, I always just assumed that that's what it was. So I wonder if, like, long-term socioeconomic sort of, what's the word that I'm thinking of? It's a really common word. Long-term sort of, socioeconomic situations. That's not the word I was thinking of, but whatever. I wonder if that changes what people perceive to be attractiveness. So if we, for example, if this country was to go on like a prolonged 20 or 30 year economic decline due to something like leaving a big market, or something like that, I wonder if that would change what people perceive to be attractive.
Potentially. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. It's difficult to predict without looking at the literature that's specifically looked at that kind of thing. It's difficult to
just trying to work out how bad the world would have to be for me to be a 10.
I mean, we're talking Mad Max.
I'm the only one with the water.
Yeah. So I think in times of economic hardship, and don't quote me on it because I'm relying on my very sketchy memory.
Okay.
I think there's a slight preference for more masculine men.
Oh. Is it like that thing that that fucking Bellsprout tweeted? Yeah. Using Pokemon as insults is really funny. Okay. Lawrence Fox. Oh, shit. Good times make shit men or something, and bad times make hard men, something like that. Something. The idea that men almost feminize during times of prosper, but then masculine up. Yeah. It's like spam up, but
spam up.
Testicle up for the
bad taste of it.
Oh God!
What?
But yeah, so if I'd imagine that is like true, mate. Like if you were to break that down into the bones of like man, hunter, provider, bad times.
Yeah, I mean it depends a lot on how you're defining masculinity.
Yeah.
Because one way to
a strong jaw.
Literally, that's it.
Yep. Yeah. Desperate Dan. That's it.
Yeah. Because like you can measure testosterone, and that's the manly hormone. Like,
I know what testosterone is, but thank you.
Right.
And apparently bald men have a lot of testosterone, which is why I need to stop swallowing.
Fair enough.
Oh, I'd have a luscious maid now if I just knew how to spit.
I mean, I don't think it works quite that way because I've got waist length hair.
Oh, dear God. We just wanted to make an educational podcast. We're talking about cum eating. What have we done?
So, yeah, you can measure testosterone and, like, that'll fluctuate a lot throughout a person's life. Interestingly, in some but not all cultures, testosterone levels dip in men after they've just become fathers.
Really?
And that dip seems to be big.
Cultures.
The dip is bigger in cultures where men are encouraged to spend a lot of time with their kids.
Really?
Yeah, so like more monogamous cultures, men's testosterone dips after having children more than it does in cultures where they're expected to have lots of wives.
Providing that they spend a lot of time with the children. So Boris Johnson's testosterone levels must be up.
I think it goes the other way around.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. Huh.
I'd need to, again, it's one of those, I'd need to look more into it.
That's it, you see.
Not what I was expecting to talk about this.
No, I know, but this is part of the fun, isn't it? And this is a thing, isn't it? Is that when a couple have a baby, you know, a lot of the focus is on the woman's body and how it's changed. But when they stop moaning, you tend to find that men change too. Yeah, that's not going to be the hill I die on. We have it much easier. How many sweets can I fit?
Yeah, just a touch. Yeah. But yeah, like, and so those changes in testosterone result in behavioural changes.
That's interesting. That do you know what? I've got mates that take testosterone as supplements. Don't understand it myself. I think they've been suckered into the whole, like, well, it's strong, manly, hormone.
Yeah, the thing, if you play with so if they're already creating their own testosterone to a decent amount, taking extra can really fuck with your system.
Couldn't it be, I mean, maybe I've just misread this or misunderstood it, but isn't it the case if you take extra testosterone and then stop taking it, then you have to be really careful because your body will compensate for the extra testosterone by making extra estrogen to sort of balance you out a bit more. And then what happens is that if you just suddenly one day stop taking testosterone, your body doesn't go, aha, I'm about to stop that extra estrogen production. Your body goes, oh, I'll still make a extra batch every few weeks just in case things change. And then before you know it, you've got more estrogen and that's bad.
Possibly. Oh, I mean, but that might just be a subplot in Fight Club. Like,
it genuinely might be. It genuinely might be. If you'd have said you've got that from Fight Club, I wouldn't be surprised.
well, because Bob had bitch tits.
Oh,
Yeah, Bob's
isn't that because he got testicular cancer?
Yeah, but he was also taking lots of hormones because he was a champion bodybuilder.
Oh my God! If I've got this off Fight Club, I need to. Oh my God! I need to have a quiet word with myself.
I mean, I've been saying that for a while, but
I can't be the only person that thought that.
no, I mean, it might be based on truth, and it was in Fight Club. It can be both.
Okay.
Like that might be why people know about it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
But none of Fight Club is true, really, is it?
What's that? Like, condos exist? Like what? Planes happen, people go on business trips.
No, I mean, like
and there are cars.
A lot of the stuff that they talk about in Fight Club is just bollocks, isn't it?
Oh, like, yeah, you do not get a recipe for napalm by watching Fight Club.
Yeah. And then also as well, like, there's a thing where Tyler Durden's on the plane and he talks about how, like...
With enough soap, you can blow up just about anything.
Well, and then also he does one where he talks about, like, how... he's a risk adjuster or whatever, and the value of everybody's life is $16,000, and if it's more to repair an aircraft than it is to compensate everyone on the plane, then they don't do it or whatever. All bollocks, just bollocks. Yeah. So I can't imagine a world where they've put that much bollocks into a film and then they've gone, but the bitch tits thing, that's a cautionary tale, my friends.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, I didn't think we'd end on Fight Club.
No, but yeah.
Do you know what? Actually, in retrospect, I did actually think we would. You know, the way that this worked. The one thing I didn't think we'd end on was waist to hip ratio.
Yeah.
Because that never... Is there anything else that we need to talk about W2H ratio? That's what we call it in the scientific community. Sorry if you didn't get the memo.
But you sometimes see it written as a W and then a colon and H.
Oh.
Because it's waist to hip ratio.
Oh, okay.
And that's one way of it. No, I think we've about covered it. Like reliably seen to be sexy. It does seem to be signalling something important about the quality of the offspring that you're going to have with somebody who has a good waist to hip ratio. And so just a couple of things. Like, obviously, it is not the most important thing.
Yeah.
Like, there's a huge suite of things that go into whether a person is considered attractive or not.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, so what seems to be the ideal based on some research is a waist that's about 70% the size of the hips.
Uh-huh.
The thing is, that's not common.
Oh.
People usually hang around the 0.8, so 80%.
Okay.
Is more normal, just because, I sometimes worry about talking about physical attractiveness because it can set some
we do have
unrealistic
we
standards.
A lot of teenage girls listen to this podcast.
It's not just teenage girls that get body issues. Come on.
Okay, yeah.
But so saying, this is scientifically the really sexy way to look, and then measure yourself and I don't.
With the pervasiveness of the media nowadays and advertising and social media apps being more common than ever before, Instagram and TikTok being totally focused on a person's looks, relating to their followers, relating to their importance. Imagine somebody who has managed to steadfast hold against all that tide and then listen to this podcast and goes, oh, imagine this being the straw that breaks the camel's back.
Yeah, I mean, fuck off, I've got ethics, all right?
That'll be
and I'll defend them even on this shitty corner of the internet. This good for nothing fucking podcast.
I've got a question that's probably either going to be incredibly insightful or incredibly stupid. I think the latter. The waist to hip ratio, is that just for women?
Yeah. So the research is only predominantly done on like cisgendered heterosexual yada yada yada. That's an interesting thing though. Even heterosexual men who have been blind since birth prefer a waist to hip ratio.
Oh my god, how did they do that test?
With mannequins?
Fuck, what, like Ray Charles when he felt the wrists?
What?
If you're not seen the film Ray?
No, like...
So the film Ray...
I've seen very few films. It's pathetic,
the film Ray is about Ray Charles.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a bit in it where he is chatting up women at a bar, right? And they're like, I don't get it. How does he always go home with the sexy ones? Right? What he'd do is and this is apparently true, he'd feel their wrists. And from that, he'd be able to work out if he was talking to a sexy, stick-thin girl with good waist to hip ratio or a big old heffalump. And then that's he'd go, like that. So what they'd do is they'd get mannequins and they'd go, Like rock.
Like what feels the most attractive to you?
Really?
So yeah,
that seems mental.
Yeah,
to me.
but
It's
a really interesting way of illustrating because a lot of the times when you're talking about attractiveness, people will say, well, that's just cultural learning. That's just like, we always see people that look like that on TV and they're always the famous popular ones.
Well, I thought that was what it was. It was like look, if you constantly say that, look, if in every fucking TV and film show that you watch, the girl that all the guys want is this girl that's skinny and has tits a certain way and an arse a certain way and hips a certain way. If that's everything that you see, like if all the fucking Disney princesses that you watch since you were a child all have the same fucking figure and shit, after a while you go, well, that must be what attractive is. But if you're blind and you don't even know, that's weird, man.
Yeah.
It's like ingrained in us.
Yeah. Again, specifically, it's the hip to waist ratio. So again, overall body size is a really variable thing. But
okay, I'm with.
So I've
fallen through the trap here of only thinking at this from a skinny mini perspective because that in itself is interesting.
Yeah.
Huh.
So there you go. There's a nice little nugget for you.
That is really interesting. The blind thing's got me. That's genuinely got me. Wow. Do modelling agencies, you reckon, then they know about this?
They might. It's hard to know. They might not know it written down on paper. Like they might not go. Like they might not measure stuff and like do the sums and things.
Yeah.
But the people involved in that, they're still just people, and they all still look at a person's figure and go, "Oh, that's sexy."
Oh, okay.
And again, it will be massively informed by cultural norms, but this waist to hip ratio thing is really, really robust.
That is pretty mad.
Yeah, it's good. It's nice and interesting.
Quite interesting, that. I like that.
On men, it's shoulders to waist.
Really?
So having
I got
wide shoulders compared to your waist. What are you doing?
I don't know. My shoulders look big, my waist looks tiny. God damn. They should have like man corsets that run side to side like that and just squeeze it in a bit.
Yeah, I think they probably exist. I don't know.
Really?
Yeah. But again, we're
Hello, dragons.
Well, shoulder pads, I guess.
Shoulder pads.
But yeah, because like men have generally much proportionally more upper body strength.
Yeah.
Than women. Like women tend to have like stronger
shoulder pads are the chicken fillets for men, isn't it?
Yeah, basically. Yeah. Yeah, why not? I'll let you have that. Yeah.
Right. Before we go, is there anything that you want to plug?
No, just as always, check out stuff by the Merseyside Skeptics Society or Skeptics in the Pub Online. Skeptics in the Pub Online also have a lot of videos on YouTube. So if you can't tune in for their live shows, you can catch most of them on YouTube.
Do they really? I did not know that. How would I find it?
Type in Skeptics in the Pub Online on
YouTube.
On YouTube, yeah.
That easy.
It's Skeptics with a K.
I
see. It's SKEPTICS.
Yes.
Instead of, because like the British way of spelling it is usually SC.
Yeah.
Eptics.
Skeptics.
But K generally means like scientific skepticism.
Yeah.
So type that into YouTube and there's loads of videos to choose from.
And I would like to plug my new single, Sex Crimes, which is coming out next month. Me and Robin Thicke.
No, it's Sexy Crimes. I'm not endorsing a song about sex crimes. And as I said earlier, the original Blurred Lines is the Sex Crimes song, right? It's sexy burglaries. I mean, that's still, but But like speeding in fishnets, that will like you're doing a crime while being sexy.
Yeah.
So
It's also speeding on the motorway as well, so it's not really
in fishnets.
Yeah, it's not really harming anybody, is it? It's not like speeding next to a school.
Yeah.
You're doing 65 in a 60. But in fishnets.
Yeah.
Also, become a member of our Patreon. We're off to record Pigoted Extra now. If you want to know what Pigoted Extra is, if you're not sure what it is, it's an extra episode just for our patrons. And you can sign up patreon.com/pigoted and listen to it. And that's the episode where we do all the series. It's not, is it? It's more bullshit.
So it's this, but even sillier.
Yeah, even sillier and more ridiculous. We actually have a group of dancers next door in little black lingerie, and I'm going to do the Robin Thicke look to the camera. And
I'm just going to stand in the corner looking mortified.
So no change.
No, really.
No change. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week.
Thanks. Bye.
This podcast has been sponsored by Outlier Distillery. They are the makers of the fantastic Hooley Manx White Rum, which is available right now on the Outlier Distillery website for just 34 quid. And there's an extra discount code for everyone that listens to this podcast. Just enter Pigoted at checkout and you get yourself 20% off. Now, this was a company that was actually started in lockdown, and they make some fantastic drinks. I am a huge fan of this Hooley Manx White Rum. As you can see, I've drunk nearly most of it already. It's a really strong flavour, and it goes great in cocktails and daiquiris and rum and cokes. So if you are a big drinker, if you're a fan of alcohol and you like white rum, then get yourself down to Outlier Distillery's website and get your code 20% off by entering Pigoted at checkout. This episode of Pigoted Podcast was sponsored by Taylor's Toys. Now, for OG listeners of the show, you'll know Taylor's Toys. They've been sponsoring us since the beginning. They are a sex toy company that specialise in making high quality produce, like you grow it. You know, they make good products that don't fall apart after a couple of uses, but they're at decent, reasonable prices as well. You can head over to taylorstoys.co.uk right now, check out the amazing range that they've got on offer, and if you enter the discount code PIGOTED at checkout, you get 20% off and you get free delivery on orders over £25. It is a fantastic thing to do, especially with Valentine's Day just round the corner. Head yourself over to taylorstoys.co.uk and spice some things up in the bedroom.